Where do you go to find 100,000 Easter eggs? We'll explain coming up.
Where do you go when you don't know where to put your money? We're going to tell you as we meet with our friends from Guardian Investments.
Also, we'll find out what's going on with the Salvation Army as they observe Holy Week and Easter Sunday. All of that and more straight ahead on Let's Chat.
Welcome to Let's Chat, the Tennessee Valley's premier show focusing on lifestyle and entertainment with Jess Raby and Chip Chapman, bringing you smart shopping tips, community events, and the newest trends. Now, let's chat.
Glad to have you with us as we continue the week. It is Tuesday, April 16th, and I, for one, was absolutely glued to the couch yesterday watching an absolute horror as the Notre Dame Cathedral burned in Paris.
I mean, such an iconic landmark. I mean, somewhere that was on my bucket list to visit. Now it's going to be dramatically changed. Of course, the massive blaze devastated the 850-year-old church. The fire burned for several hours, destroying the cathedral's iconic spire and roof before firefighters were able to contain the blaze earlier this morning in that time.
They did manage to save a pair of the bell towers that were immortalized in the Victor Hugo classic, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Also, along with a lot of the elaborate stonework, officials said some invaluable artifacts were saved, including the crown of thorns believed to have been worn by Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm glad they were able to save some of the more iconic. I was worried about the bell towers because, you know, if the fire even got to those, the way air travels with the tower, it was almost going to be a total loss at that point.
Yeah,
but
what a horrible thing.
French President Emmanuel Macron described the fire as a, quote, terrible tragedy, but added that the, quote, worst had been avoided, just as we kind of talked about.
Some people say that Notre Dame has the history of Christianity, and I think it's bigger than that. Notre Dame, rather, holds the history of the world in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely.
So they have pledged to rebuild Notre Dame's cathedral. I think every government just about around the planet has agreed to help out the government of France in rebuilding Notre Dame.
Well, I think this structure goes beyond any type of religious affiliation with our culture and our world.
It's just a huge loss, huge loss.
Well, we'll keep updated on the progress.
Yes, we certainly will. Yeah. One of the things that made that fire so horrible, it was made of nothing but wood inside and dried antique wood at that.
Yes,
so
very old
wood. The more heat it got, obviously, the quicker it burned, and we saw what happened. So anyway.
I'm sure they will rebuild it with keeping the historical integrity. But also making it safer for future generations.
Sure. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Okay, I have a confession to make.
Yes.
You might want to sit down for this, people at home.
Yes.
I have never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
Never?
Never.
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 I haven't either.
I don't really care to. I don't know. Everyone raves about it. People love it, but it just doesn't. It's not my niche.
You, me, and Kay, I think, are the only people in this building that are not addicted to Game of Thrones.
We are three of not included in the 17.4 million people who tuned in to the season premiere Sunday.
And that shattered the series record, according to the officials at HBO. Previous record was held by the season 7 finale, which brought in almost 17 million viewers in August of 2017.
So 11.8 million people, for all you business owners out there that say people don't watch television, 11.8 million people watched it live on television, and the rest have since streamed on HBO's 2 apps.
Episode 2 of Season 8 will air this Sunday at 9 on HBO.
So I heard this morning on a podcast that I listened to that if you are someone who hasn't watched Game of Thrones, but you maybe want to pick it up, of course we're into Season 8 now, so that's a lot of shows to watch because they're long seasons. Well, the writer of the program has released a Cliff Notes version. So there's a list. There's a list of 21 episodes that you can go back and watch, and that will fully catch you up.
HBO is going all out in marketing this. They have hidden 6 thrones around the world.
Oh,
and there's going to be a
cool.
huge scavenger hunt to find all 6.
Now I might do that, even though I don't watch
Yeah,
the
that's
show.
kind of a cool concept,
Yeah.
I think.
I don't want my picture
6
taken in it.
6 different thrones around the world. Haven't gotten any additional details on that, but that does come
Cool.
from a good source. So
I
we'll
mean,
see how
it's
that
created a
develops.
culture and.
Well,
yeah.
you're not kidding. They went all out on this one.
Absolutely.
And they've certainly hit one out of the park. So there you have it.
Well, no. I might watch it eventually. I'm also the person that just started watching Grey's Anatomy this year, and it's been on for how many years?
Yeah, it's been on a
I'm
while.
on season 9, so nobody ruin it for me. I'm not
been
watching what's on the air.
I'm not sure what's on season 9. I mean, it's been that long. I
Yeah.
think it's going
And
on
I'm
10,
just now
11
watching it.
years
I'm
now,
always
so.
late.
Yeah, we'll catch up to Game of Thrones at some point. Did you catch any of the Boston Marathon yesterday?
I did not.
Pretty
Of course,
cool
it starts
story.
a little early for my flavor.
It's back in 1979, there was a little-known runner named Joan Benoit. Now, what's really cool about her is she won the Boston Marathon back in 1979, only her second ever marathon competition. A few years later, in 1984, she went on to capture an Olympic gold medal in the very first women's marathon. 1 month after knee surgery. 1 month after knee surgery.
So in 2019, so this year, she returned to the Boston Marathon, this time with her daughter, Anna, who is also a runner. They both completed the event. So Samuelson, which is her married name now, so
Right.
Joan is now 61 years old and said it was her goal 40 years after her first victory to finish the marathon within 40 minutes of her original record time. And she did, with plenty of time left to spare. Of course, the marathon brings out many stories.
Yeah, it really does, including this one that's actually one of the more tear-jerking moments of the Boston Marathon. A U.S. Marine pushed through intense pain, as you'll see here in just a moment, just to cross the finish line late Monday. His name is Micah Herndon. He crawled literally on his hands and knees as he finished up the race, an endeavor he took to honor his fallen comrades. This was a tribute to the memories of 3 men he knew while serving in Afghanistan. Their names were Mark Juarez, Matthew Ballard, and Rupert Hamer. He told the Record Courier in Ohio he runs in honor of them, and that whenever he's feeling like giving up, he just repeats their names.
It took Herndon 3 hours and 38 minutes to finish the 26.2-mile race. That's still a great time.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can tell. He's got the guts and the integrity and the forward momentum that all Marines possess.
Absolutely. I mean, I've watched several marathons, half marathons, and it's not uncommon to see an individual, crawling across the
Sure.
finish line because they do want to finish, but not all of them quite have this story and this drive behind them.
He'd be an interesting man to sit down and talk to, no doubt about
Well,
it.
congratulations to him and to everyone who completed the marathon.
Absolutely. We're in for a quick break. We're talking 100,000 Easter eggs plus. We're also going to be chatting with our friends from the Salvation Army.
And in case you want to hide your money so you have a nice Easter egg when you retire, Guardian Investments is going to tell us how to do it.
Stick around, all that and more this half hour on Let's Chat.